Hey y'all, my name is Brittany Fennell and I'm a senior here at Clemson University. I'm working in a creative inquiry with Gail DiSapatino and a few fellow students. I'm sitting here with Coach Swinney and would like to get his input on it and some thoughts, and just so y'all can hear from Coach Swinney.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today, and it's an honor to be able to speak to all of y'all out there and just participate in this worthy cause.
Coach Swinney, what are your thoughts and what all do you know about the alcohol issues in Clemson's community as a whole?
Well, I think we have alcohol issues not just at Clemson community, but across this country. There's a lot of problems, especially with young people. Young people start experimenting and oftentimes aren't the most responsible, and there's been a lot of tragedies, and especially here at Clemson in recent days and weeks. In fact, we lost a student, I believe, to alcohol, and just a tragedy. And it's really unfortunate to see a young person lose their life. And so that's why I agreed to be a part of this with you and hopefully bring some awareness to a problem.
Exactly. Well, as you know, we are doing a rally on December 8th at 2 o'clock in the amphitheater. This is to create awareness for Clemson students, the community, faculty, and alumni. Everyone joined together as our one Clemson. And we are wanting to get Coach Swinney's input. We're having President Barker come talk and really just try to put a stop to this. So what can you give to Clemson and help us understand that this is something that's going to have to change?
Well, I think that what I would say is that you have to look out for each other. If we're one Clemson, then you have to have each other's back. And I'm not naive enough to think that alcohol is going to disappear. But I do think that people can be more responsible, and I think this is where friends have to step up and recognize a problem, and maybe speak to that problem. Alcoholism is something that can start at an early age, and I've experienced that myself in my own personal life with my family, and I've seen it, and so I think that in making sure that we create awareness and that people think about it and realize that, listen, this can kill you, whether it's alcohol poisoning or it leads to a really bad decision, a really bad decision. Right. I took our football team to a maximum security prison a few weeks ago, and prisons are full of, there's a lot of good people in prison that made a bad decision in a moment.
Exactly.
They made a bad decision in a moment, and oftentimes alcohol is involved, and you can't take that back. You have to live with the consequences of your decisions, and that's just a fact of life. Mm-hmm. Alcohol is prevalent on all college campuses, and there are laws that we have in this society, and so people, you try to hope that you have as many deterrents as possible, so that people have to follow the law. And if a person is 21 or older and they want to have a drink, that's their business, and they just have to be responsible with it. And then I think other people, need to help out when you see and recognize a problem.
Well, in no way is the creative inquiry, me, Gail DiSapatino, trying to eliminate the drinking. We understand it's a part of our culture, our society. It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But that, as you mentioned, responsibility is a huge key of taking care of your peers. We have the amnesty policy. So many people don't know the amnesty policy, and I can personally say I didn't know it until I became involved with this creative inquiry. And it's calling the police, the head of your development that you live in, your RA, to get them involved and to make sure this doesn't happen again. So that's a huge point that we are just trying to stress, and because this could easily be avoided, basically. There was no need to lose a student's life at such a young age, at any age really, but this could be avoided. You touched on some personal experience.
Yeah.
What have you had to deal with alcohol?
Well, I'm the baby of 3 boys, and you know, I grew up in a family where alcohol was just, I mean, it was just part of every day. You know, it just was the norm. My father was an alcoholic and struggled with alcoholism for many, many years. And you know, I watched it ruin his life. I watched my father, you know, and he wasn't a college graduate or anything, but he was a hard-working man, and he's still a hard-working man. But I watched his life crumble. He lost his home, his business, his family, and his means for coping became alcohol. And so it was almost like just throwing gasoline on a fire. The blaze just got stronger and stronger and stronger and ruined his life. And really also, you know, hurt other people in the process. And it was a very difficult thing for me to deal with as a young person, and especially as I got into my 20s and into my early 30s, and really, you know, dealing with that. And but my father is now sober, you know, and my father's a great example that it's never too late to do what's right. And he's been sober now for at least 10 years, and is doing great, and that's a blessing. But he's very fortunate that he's even still alive.
Right.
Number one, and then my brother, my middle brother. You know, my middle brother just followed suit in the same path that my father had gone down. Became an alcoholic at a young age. In fact, when he was 16 years old, I was 15, and I'll never forget the call coming to our home at midnight. And next, you know, they had to airlift him to the hospital. My brother and his friend had been out drinking. His friend's driving. His friend falls asleep at the wheel, and they had a bad crash and hit a tree and threw my brother Tripp through the windshield, and you know, cut his ear off. Had massive head injury, and he lost 1.5 years of his life, you know, trying to recover from a massive head injury at 16 years old. And he's 43 now, and he's still suffering from that head injury he had when he was 16 years old. And then he went on to become an alcoholic all through his 20s and his 30s. He's now sober, but it wasn't until he was 40 years old, and he was in a rehab facility, and he was at rock bottom. And so, listen, I've seen alcohol and the grip that it can have on a person's life, and some people can handle it, some people can't handle it, and it's a very sad thing. So, you know, as I said, I've experienced it firsthand. I've seen, being on college campuses since 1988, I've been on a college campus. So I've seen a lot of young people, and I've seen alcohol kill people. I've seen alcohol cause people to do things that they would never do in their right mind. I've seen alcohol, you know, lead to major accidents and so forth. And so it's just something that every individual has to think about. And they have to make a conscious decision that, hey, listen, there's a limit, and you have to be responsible. And then those around that person, if they truly care about them, they're going to help them and not worry about that person getting mad or losing cool points or whatever it may be. You know, they're going to step up and do what's right when they need to.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, I think my biggest goal is for students like myself and everyone listening that they can realize that you can relate. And this is a serious issue. I told Coach Swinney I didn't come to him because he's a great football coach and in a college town. That wasn't the point. Is I had heard that he had a personal dealing with this, and I wanted to hear about him. And one of my biggest things I'd love to hear from you and for others to hear is all in. You shared the definition with me, and if you could just share with everybody the definition and how we as a Clemson student body, the faculty, the alumni, our community all come together.
Well, you know, obviously everybody hears me talk about all in all the time, and everybody maybe has their own interpretation of what that means. But it's real simple to me. It's real simple. And first of all in is it's not. It may be a slogan at some other place. It's not really a slogan here. It's a way of life. It's a way of life in Clemson, and it doesn't just apply to our football team. And that's what I'm in charge of. But my hope is that one day, you know, we will be truly one Clemson. And all in means to me, and what it means to our players, is just a commitment to do your best in everything you do on and off the field. Just be committed. You know, if you're truly all in, then you're going to be committed to doing your very best on and off the field every day in everything that you do. Nobody can ask more of you than your best. Right. Your best is all you got. And as many guys as we can get committed to that, well, that's what we're going to get. Right. And so that's the challenge to my team all the time, is just do your best. And in order to do your best, you have to deny yourselves things that keep you from doing your best. It's bad thinking, it's negative thinking, it's listening to the wrong things, it's alcohol abuse, it's drugs, it's not getting proper sleep, it's eating bad food. There's so many things that keep you from being your best. Right. And I really believe we weren't created to be average. You know, we were created to be great. Every one of us, and this is not just the football players. This is every student on this campus. Everybody has a light in them, and they need to let it shine. And that's really what all in's about. Just, you know, be your best. And if everybody was truly committed to being the best they could be, this would be a whole different world. But so many people settle for mediocre. So many people settle for average. They're not committed to excellence.
We wouldn't be having this conversation, in my opinion, if that was the issue.
No, but there's no shortcuts to being the best. There's no shortcuts. It's an all-in commitment, you know, you can't say, okay, I'm going to be my best over here, but then over here, you know, have your cake and eat it too. It just doesn't work that way. You've got to be, you know, truly all in, truly committed to being the best you can be. And so that's one of the things I tell the players all the time. Hey, you got to deny yourselves things that and so you don't fool anybody. If you're not committed to excellence, you're not going to get excellence. You're just not going to get it. You might catch a glimpse of it, but it's not going to last very long. And so, you know, that's the message to my team, and that's the message that I would have to the student body out there. You know, be the best you can be, and you know, be committed to that every single day. Don't allow you know, things to bring you down. And you know, so many young people never achieve their goals because they give up what they want most for what they want at a moment. It's that moment. And if you're truly committed, you'll be able to manage those moments so you can do the right thing, make the right decisions.
And that's exactly what we're asking of y'all. Using his term all in, like you said, it's not a slogan. We really, truly mean it, and we want everyone to be all in. December 8th at 2 o'clock in the amphitheater, we will be having a rally. We will have a message from Coach Swinney. President Barker will be there, a few parents, and really the community coming together. So we know alcohol is not going away. We understand that. That's something we've talked about a few times, and we just want to make a difference and make more aware, I guess, in general about alcohol. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us and to reach out to our community.
Glad to be a part of it. Go Tigers.